people had shifted from that village to safer areas, and now they want to come back to their village just to collect their belongings from those destructed houses. And for that purpose, they have requested the government to establish tentative kind of arrangement in that particular village. And one more camp is established in Suwali near the degree college for those families where still there are problems and the government want to initiate action there, and the families are shifted from those troubled areas to relatively safer areas. But instead of migrating them to the lower districts as happened at the start of this operation, they are trying to accommodate them within the district.
What are the situation in the schools? Since the schools are going to start in September, can we get some information about the situation in the schools, water and sanitation for the schools?
Here in the host districts, where the school have been occupied by the IDPs?
Yes.
In fact, the education cluster, lead education cluster will be in better position to tell you the exact positions, but I think the government has already prioritized from where the IDPs should be shifted first, and I think that is one area where the government is interested to see the education institution vacated before the academic year starts.
One thing, sir, in Chota Lahore, the most of the IDPs that belong to Bonair and Sawatna. Until yesterday, 132 families shifted at their own, and still people want to move. And whether these families are being accommodated in certain areas, or they are going by at their own, because there is a trend now that people want to start moving.
My information is that the 113 families from Chota Lahore, they are officially being shifted in officially arranged vehicles and through official arrangement. Means they have properly been asked to pack, and they have been provided all the necessary arrangement for transportation. They are not moving on their own.
I mean, certainly not forced.
But they belong to the safer areas in district Bonair, which have been clear, and they also know that it is clear there is no problem.
I mean, thus far, again, it's not forced return. Thus far, UNHCR and other agencies have not started to begin supporting the transport. Certainly something, there's ongoing discussions, returns task force, communication campaigns, etc., to what the members of the humanitarian community last week suggested to the government was perhaps we can facilitate people to go there, see the situation, and then come back, or decide to move themselves. Thus far, that's not happening, but certainly families are making the decision to return. In the past, some have come back, but we hope the situation perhaps is better this time, that they will have to do that. Any other questions on?
Yeah, I just have one question, and it's regarding the schools. You said that the government priority is to the refugees and the IDPs to go back from the school first. As far as Bonair is concerned, I can see the possibilities that people from Bonair may go to Bonair area. But the IDPs from Mingaura, I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but if it's not even open for government employees at the moment, even the government employee has to take a special pass to move around in the city. So how do we see that the IDPs from Mingaura or from Sawat in the camps? Are we planning to shift them before the session starts to another camps, or what's the plan? Because it doesn't look like at the moment, but I see that
Two things. The school in the certain districts starts somewhere in September, and when the government will formally announce the return of the IDPs to their home districts, to their original homes, before that it will be ensured that it qualifies the criteria which is being considered to be there before they formally announce the return. I hope the government will find sufficient time when normalcy is returned to their area of origin, and the time when the academic period starts here in the city districts. Right now we are, today is 29th of June, so the July and September are there. So there are 2 months at least, 2 months at least. And it is not that the government is planning to take care of that particular factor, that when the scheme of things for the return of the IDP is finalized, so the schools issue, the school factor, that is accommodated somewhere, that the education does not affect it in the settled areas.
The government is committed to not forcing people to go back anywhere. They're committed to returns based on humanitarian principles that we all espouse. They are looking for a phased return, so areas that they deem safe by whatever standard method is where they were looking for returns. They will not push people back to Mangora or other areas of Swat if they don't feel, and either way they won't push. But there's certain support, there's maybe some support that may be given for returnees that may certainly make people consider returning. But again, not forced. Schools is a challenge, it's a big challenge, and I think it remains to be seen how we're able all to deal with it. But the government has, again, reiterated its commitment. They're not forcing anyone to return to areas, at least that they feel are unsafe, and really giving people the opportunity to make an informed decision about returning to their places of origin.
I think it would be more easier for everybody to understand if the government can issue some policy document on this issue of the schools and everything.
There will be.
Yes, when the government will finalize it, they will definitely issue.
Before
They're
September.
working on a sort of framework for returns, etc., etc. So all of those things are under discussion and will certainly be shared once they're there. If not, we'll just move very quickly on to the results of the MCRAM, the Multi-Cluster Rapid Assessment Mechanism. Is everybody familiar with the MCRAM, or does it need a little bit of an introduction? Okay, just very, very briefly. Again, the Multi-Cluster Rapid Assessment Mechanism, the MCRAM, has been under development in Pakistan for, I would say, a year. I would guesstimate a year, but it's probably actually been more than that. And it was intended to allow for a multi-cluster, very rapid, 48, 72-hour sort of assessment in the event of an emergency. It's still certainly a work in progress. In Pakistan, it was piloted in a couple of areas, one in Thatta, I know I don't say that properly, in Sindh. It was piloted there. It was used first in terms of an emergency in, I think, November 2008 in the IDP camps of NWFP. It was again, oh, maybe not first, September. And then in October it was used in the earthquake of Balochistan, October 2008. And then again it was run in November in NWFP. And so certainly they're still working out a lot of the little problems that do arise. But last week a team did